In this episode, we are diving into a term that's taking over the dev world: vibe coding. Specifically, we're looking at Lovable, the platform that promises to turn your ideas into full stack apps with nothing but natural language. Feels like magic. You sit down, describe your dream app, and watch the code write itself. But as we say at Seisan, speed is a vanity metric, stability is the sanity metric. Let's get into it. Hello, this is John from the Execution Overhype podcast, presented by Seisan. We cut through the marketing fluff so you can deploy tech that actually builds a business, not just a demo. Vibe coding is like a one-night stand with your tech stack. It feels amazing in the moment, but you don't want to wake up next to it 6 months later when the security audit arrives. Lovable is a platform that uses AI to spin up web and mobile apps. It builds the UI, the database, and the logic. It's designed to keep you in the dopamine loop, where every prompt gives you a visual win. But before you get too excited, let's talk about who actually owns that vibe. Under current US law, AI-generated content, including code, is legally a little murky. If the AI writes 95% of your app, can you actually copyright it? Can you defend it in court? I spoke with a founder recently who built his MVP on a vibe coding tool. He started to gain some traction, went to pitch a VC for a Series A. The first thing the VC's tech lead asked was, can we see your IP assignment? The founder showed them a prompt history, and the VC laughed them out of the room. Why? Because they're there to buy an asset. They're not there to buy a vibe. If you can't prove you own the underlying logic, your company's valuation is zero. Now let's talk about the part that the influencers skip. Day 2, the live ops phase. Imagine your app is live, you've got thousands of users. Suddenly, Apple releases an iOS update that breaks your navigation, or your users are demanding a new feature like a multi-vendor payment split. Anything that's a little more complex than an ordinary feature. If you don't know how to code, you are now hostage to the prompt window. When you ask AI to add a complex feature to an existing project built weeks ago, it often suffers from context drift. It forgets why it built the database a certain way. It starts hallucinating, adding code that contradicts the old code. You end up with some type of Frankenstein app. I saw this play out recently with a retail app. They had a bug where users couldn't check out properly if they had an apostrophe in their name. A human developer finds that error in 5-10 minutes. But the vibe coder spent hours guessing at the prompts trying to describe the bug to AI. Every time the AI fixed the problem at checkout, it accidentally broke the login screen. It's like watching someone try to fix a watch with a sledgehammer. Now let's talk about the real elephant in the room: security. AI code often pulls in hallucinated libraries or outdated packages with known vulnerabilities. If you can't read the code, you're essentially leaving the back door unlocked and hoping no one notices. An app without a developer is like a car without a mechanic. It's great until the check engine light comes on, and then you're just a guy staring at an engine he doesn't understand. Lovable generally produces hybrid apps, essentially websites in a mobile wrapper. For an internal tool to track company staplers, totally fine. But for consumer-facing product, the moment you need to integrate with a legacy ERP, CRM, any kind of high-security banking API, the vibe hits a brick wall. These tools struggle with the pipes, the unsexy back-end work that makes your enterprise run. If your app feels laggy, it won't talk to your SQL database, your users will delete it faster than you can prompt fix bug. Now it's time for the Tech Reality Score. We grade these across 5 categories to see if they belong in your enterprise. This one's a little nuanced. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. So let's go through the standard categories. Ease of use, user experience. Definitely a 10. Dangerously easy. It's the most fun you'll ever have building an app. Functionality features, we've got a 6. Simple for what we call CRUD: create, read, update, delete. But if you need complex logic or heavy processing, the AI starts to stumble a bit. Integrations and capability is a 4. It's a walled garden. Connecting to legacy enterprise systems is a nightmare because the AI doesn't understand your specific internal infrastructure. Value for cost. So on the short term, it's an 8. In the long term, it's a 2. It's cheap to launch, but the technical debt you're accumulating will cost you 10 times more in rewrites later. So let's call it a 5. Scalability and long-term viability is a 3. Without a developer who understands the architecture and the code, you can't scale. You're building your house and your business on sand. Final score, 28 out of 50. Now, typically this would be worth exploring. However, as I said earlier, there's a little bit of a nuance. So let's go through how this kind of hits all three of our scoring categories, which again, all hype, worth exploring, and execution ready. If you're a startup and you're looking for prototyping and MVPs, right, you need to show a board of directors some type of clickable version of an idea or a product roadmap by tomorrow morning. Lovable is a fantastic weapon in your arsenal. It's the fastest way to turn a thought into a visual. For mission critical enterprise infrastructure, all hype. The no code, no dev dream is a fantasy for serious scale. Without a human architect to manage security, technical debt, and IP ownership, again, building your house on sand. For internal productivity tools, definitely worth exploring. If the app stays inside your four walls and doesn't handle sensitive customer data or it isn't exposed to the outside world, the speed of vibe coding can actually be a bit of a benefit. Lovable is a fantastic innovation tool, but it is a dangerous production tool if you don't have a professional team to audit the output. The bottom line, vibe coding feels fast because it trades structure for momentum. That's okay for a demo, but it's lethal for a real system. Tools generate code. Systems generate outcomes. If you build an app that's currently stuck in vibe hell, where you're afraid to touch a button because the whole thing might crash, give us a call. For years, we've specialized in rescuing projects and turning them into scalable, secure enterprise assets. Check the notes for some of our case studies or find us at Seisan.com. Stop vibing and start executing. Till next time, I'm John, out.